everyone. Welcome to From London with Love, with me, Lin Clive, on ALB UK TV. Today, we have a very special guest, Her Highness Sheikha Intisar AlSabah, a princess of the Royal AlSabah family of Kuwait. Her Highness is a philanthropist who's dedicated to promoting positivity. She's an entrepreneur and seeks to inspire people to feel and do better. She's an author, columnist, promoting positive social behavior in Kuwait and beyond. Hello, Sheikha.
Hello. Thank you for this beautiful introduction.
Thank you so much for being with us. It's our pleasure.
Oh, it's my honor.
How are you doing today? How's the weather like in Kuwait?
Well, it's summer, so it's quite warm, and I'm doing well. I woke up on a good side of the bed, so I'm fine.
That's great. Sheikha Intisar, you are known for people who doesn't know, the viewers, you are known for spreading positivity, for determination to change people's behavior to the best. So you are the founder of a few foundations. We're gonna mention them during the show. Let's start from to tell us a little bit more about these foundations. Where the initial idea came from?
Oh, nice. So I have a chance to say how I started. So I used to work in the corporate world, and I've always wanted to give and make a difference. I volunteered, and I'm part of a couple of local NGOs in Kuwait. And after a few years of working in the corporate world, I realized I am not going to make a difference, not the kind of difference I want to make. So I decided to, one thing I wanted to do was to start publishing, because at the time in the Arab world, in the Gulf, magazines, let's say the female magazines for me did not empower women. They disempowered women. It was all about beauty, skin deep, fashion, horoscopes, unfortunately, how to be a second wife, witchcraft, and trivial subjects that I thought were very unbefitting to the Gulf women who are second generation, at least second generation working women. They are doctors, they are engineers, they are managers, they are CEOs, yet Arabic Gulf magazines were putting them in a very small frame of being the old, it's not even the old, I'm saying, I don't know, it's this frame of being very small people and limiting their access to any information that would support them to grow internally.
Yeah.
So I decided to do something about it, and I got an Australian franchise that was called Good Health. And what I liked about it was it had psychology, it had beauty, but let's say clean beauty. It had travel, but it had meaningful travel. It had cooking, but it had, let's say, good for you food. And it had parenting. It had alternative or complementary therapies. It had a medical dossier in the middle that gave you everything you need about that medical condition. So it was a very empowering publication. And so I chose to bring that to the Gulf and translate some of the content, but also have our own content and adapt it. And one of the first things we did, which was against, seriously against what was going on, was to get a celebrity and require that the celebrity doesn't pout on the cover. Now, this seems elementary in the West, but when I started in 2011, in the Gulf, all the celebrities were pouting. They were being sexy. And I thought, no, sexy is good, but it shouldn't be all the time. You should also be yourself and be authentic. And so our first hurdle was asking the usual celebrities that would be on the covers to not pout and to look beautiful.
Yeah.
And so the first, I think after 3 covers, what we started seeing, I mean, one of our covers, we had one of the top celebrities wearing a white shirt with a bicycle. This was unheard of in the Gulf, unheard of. And one where someone was like in the garden, gardening, and also wearing, you know, what you would garden in, something pretty nice, but you looked like a female. Yeah. You didn't look like a sexual object. That's what was, you know, the covers were exploiting the sexuality of women, and I didn't want to do that. And so it took, I think, about 5 to 7 covers. And then what I realized was the top other magazines were starting to change too.
Oh, okay.
They were starting to adopt the way we were putting the celebrities on the cover. Celebrities now, because they saw that what we are doing is good, they started allowing us to do their covers, because in the beginning they wouldn't. No, we're not going to go on a magazine. We don't know what you want to do. And then after a few covers, they realized that whoever we featured on the cover looks really good, but in a different way. They had colors, like they had red, but a nice red, and they had nice backgrounds, and it was just different. So that's with the cover. And so with time, we started seeing that even competing magazines, or let's say other magazines, started having different kinds of covers with more wholesome looking celebrities. Also, when we used to interview celebrities, we used to ask them questions about their families, not gossip, not slander, deep questions. And the celebrities like, no one's ever asked us this before. Yeah, but we want the public to know you, your personality, the real you, the authentic you. So that also took us a while for, you know, we're changing the way magazines work, and that took a while in the beginning. And then they just got it, they understood it. And then whoever we approach, they take it immediately. But also what we saw is with the other magazines, we started seeing less of how to be a second or a third wife.
Yeah.
Less about trivial, I would say trivial subjects, because, you know, they dim women's intellect, and they started using our subjects. So suddenly you have about different subjects in these magazines that for the past 20 years they have the same subjects. And exactly, and they also changed their design, they upped their design. It was more modern, more engaging. And so after about 8 years of publishing, and we did really well because we could see how we started, where other magazines are, where we are now, and how other magazines have adapted our new form of women empowerment through female magazines. And then with the decline of printing, we chose to, I chose to stop the magazine, because already I had started a few other projects, and I thought, okay, my job now has been done. I've changed the landscape of female magazines. Other women have seen and realized that they're worth more than what they're given. And so they've, you know, we've been able in 8 years to change the publishing. And so we stopped publishing because, and also during that time I had started the first year also I published my first book, and it was about inspirational people from Kuwait. And so we used a new format of interviewing the people that we find inspiring and getting a quote from them that we reflected in a picture. And so that was very inspirational, and people were like, oh, we have these people in our country, oh, this is their quote, this is what they think. And it was easy because the quote was attached to a visual. a beautiful picture. Actually, by the pictures were done by a British artist who came to Kuwait to do it, to help us on the book. And so we had a huge impact on that too. And 2012, 2012, I came, there was a video going that was going viral in Kuwait, and in the video, basically the producer wanted to have change in Kuwait by highlighting all the bad things that were happening. So the video was full of garbage on the streets, full of hopelessness in a way.
It's a negative, really.
To me, it made me feel bad. And so I picked up the phone and I talked to the producer and I said, why are you doing this? And he said, well, we have to change. And I said, yes, but this is not the way to change. And he says, no, by highlighting all the bad things, we get to stop them. And I couldn't understand why I'm highlighting all the bad things to stop them without giving what the alternative was.
Yeah.
Anyway, 2 weeks after that, I was reading an article on CNN website by Sean Aker, and he had said that after 10 years of research at Harvard, they've realized that having a positive mindset allows you to be able to have impactful change, to be able to solve problems, to grow, to be a different person. And what's amazing was he gave about 12 to 14 steps or 12 to 14 tools that would allow someone, and this is all from the research in Harvard, that would allow someone to be able to transform themselves from a negative person to a positive person. And I looked at it and I said, oh, wow, there are tools. Look, there is something called positive psychology. Oh my God, these are the steps that we can take to change into a more positive nation.
Yeah.
And I thought, I have to bring this to my country. This video is disruptive. I have to bring something that allows people to change their mindset to a more positive in order to do better within themselves, but also do better for the country and the world. Yeah. So that's when the idea came, and then I went with it.
He tried to do changes through highlighting what's bad and what's negative, but you tackled it in a different way through spreading positivity and promoting for positivity. What you said something very interesting, like there are tools we can use and we can change our mindset, our life to be more positive. Can you tell us more about it? Is there like a tip we can give it to the viewers?
Positive psychology is a science. It's a science. It's researched. It's validated. And one of the top 12 tools or 12 top ways to change into a more positive person. Of the top 12, 60% was one thing: gratitude. So gratitude has the biggest impact on changing one's perspective from a negative to a positive. And that's one of the main things we do in the NGO I started in 2013, which is all about using positive psychology.
Yeah.
And simplifying it into tools. So we take all the research, all the information positive psychology has published, be it in books or in journals, and simplify it in tools that are engaging, exercises that are engaging, that are fun to do, that are simple, but that are impactful. So we did that since 2013. We actually, I launched the NGO on the first International Day of Happiness, which was in 2013, on the 19th of March.
How important the support?
Sorry, 20th of March.
Yeah. how important it is from people around you to give you support when you are trying to change your mindset or trying to be more positive about your life or whatever. How important the support we get from the surrounding.
Oh, for sure. No, not no one can do it. It's very hard to change when everything around you, let's say, if everything around you is negative, it's going to be very hard to become a positive person. Not impossible, but it takes a lot of courage, a lot of belief in what one wants to do. And it's very hard to continue the belief when everyone tells you, all the naysayers are saying, no, this is not true, this is not real, you're being dreamy. And so one has to have full conviction of their vision and mission and stay with it. Be very adamant, be very courageous, but also be very stubborn. And with time, when one continues on that path, they'll be joined by other people, and that's when one makes a change.
So if we are going to link positivity to confidence, because and to happiness, we can see that they are all linked in a way.
Yeah. The difference is positivity is a mindset, happiness is an emotion.
Yeah.
So the emotion can come and go. So you cannot be happy all the time, but you can always be positive. So this is a state of being. This is an emotion. So let's say when you have a big accident, you can't be happy, but you can be positive. You can be grateful. You can be full of hope. You can be determined. You can be courageous, but you cannot be happy. So positivity is a mindset, and when you are in a positive mindset, basically you can move mountains, you can have, you can find solutions, you can see the hope. Yeah, it gives you the power to be able to change your situation. Whereas happiness, happiness is very funny because you can't always be happy, but positivity is a strength.
Yeah. So it's something we can learn in time if we put our mind to it.
And that's what we do. So what we do in my first NGO is we do simple exercises and we decimate them in public, in malls, in the street, and also on social media, how to become more positive. These are exercises, and we do different exercises all the time.
It's so important in a world full with negativity. We hear bad news nearly every day. To be positive. So I am impressed.
One of the keys to be positive is to stop watching bad news. And this one, no, but I'm giving you this from research done in Essex University. So they did this research. They have this. It's I think a 7-week program where they put a screen with 14 faces, and you have to look at the smiley face. And once you find the smiley face, they change it. And so you go, screen after screen after screen of looking for the smiley face. Okay. Because we are naturally inclined as human beings to look for the negative. So what they're doing basically is turning it around, so you're starting to notice the positive, to be able to identify it, to see it, to recognize it. And I mean, there is one or two other things they do, but looking at the screen of smiley faces after 7 weeks has neurological effects on the brain, because you start seeing the possibilities as opposed to always the impossibilities. So watching the news or watching bad news actually blinds you from all the good that's going on.
So try to look out for positive things around.
Exactly. Not try. Make sure that you notice 10 good things a day, because that to balance one positive thing, you need 3. No, you need 2 to balance 2 positives to balance 1 negative, and 3 positives to override 1 negative. So we should not try, we should make a conscious effort of looking at all the good that's around us, but because by looking at the good, we get to see it more, we get to feel it more, we start having more hope, we start working in a different way, as opposed to being despondent and full of negativity because we're only watching the bad news.
An advice I personally will try to follow.
I hope so.
In terms of, we talked about support from community, support from people around us and how important it is, but also we can get emotional, I don't know if I can call it support, but emotional, like feeling better from objects, and that will take me to your jewelry line. So can you tell me more about it? So where also the idea came from, what is it? What are you doing in terms of your jewelry design?
Okay, I've been designing my own jewelry for me and my family for about 30 years. And also I used to design for a shop in Kuwait, and the manager kept telling me, start your own line, start your own brand, and I couldn't see a reason why I should, because at the time I didn't think I had anything of distinction. I had beautiful designs, but to me they were just jewelry. And then a day arrived when I realized that some jewelry make me feel good and some of my jewelry don't. And that came from the energy of the stones. And what I realized with my friend who works in energy is some of my stones were not energetically clean, so they must have been blood diamonds or blood stones, and so we cleared them or we got rid of them. So that was one. The second thing, I realized that some jewelry bring good emotions and some don't, because some jewelry remind you of good things and some jewelry is just an ornament. And
meaning more to it.
Exactly. And then my daughters wouldn't wear jewelry, and I love jewelry. And I realized, okay, how can I make them wear something? Like, how can I make them wear jewelry? And I realized it has to make them feel good. Especially during that time, I was working on Prismology, which is a body care brand using color therapy to enhance your mood. And I thought, okay, if I can work on enhancing mood through a beauty brand, how can I enhance mood through jewelry? And then I got it. Yes, there are ways to enhance the good or the feel-good factor using jewelry. And then so I said, oh my God, now I can start a brand. There is a reason to start the brand. There is a reason to design a new form of jewelry. And then at the same time, I started a foundation which is about using drama therapy to empower Arab women affected by war. And I said, oh my God, I can make this even better. I can start a brand that makes the person wearing it feel good, and we can do a big part of the proceeds go to support the foundation. So if I'm wearing one of my pieces now, if I buy this jewelry, other than it has positive words on it, so you can choose your words. So we're working on Dr. Masaru Emoto's theory of words having a positive or a negative effect on water. Since we are 70% water, if you wear a positive word, it will have a positive effect on your body. Or if you turn it around, all our jewelry flip. So if you turn it around, it becomes a mantra. And so you see the mantra and you adapt the word or the attribute of the word. So I would feel good. And then because I know that a big part of the proceeds goes to other women, I make them feel good. So it's like a circle of goodness going around.
That takes me to a very important question for ladies who are watching. How do I know if that piece of jewelry or stone is good for me, or if it is like it gives me this energy or not? Is it a feeling attached to it, or is it we need to research behind it?
Okay, we for the time being we only use diamonds, but our whole supply chain is ethical. So again, I can't feel good when I'm destroying someone else's life. So our whole supply chain is ethical, and it's not about stones, it's about the peace. So we have, in this collection, we have 7 words. And so there's a very small quiz that you can do online. If you go onto the website, there's a quiz. As soon as you open it, there's a quiz, and it's what attribute do you want? What feeling do you want? What is it you want? And then you answer the quiz, and you do get the word that you need. And sometimes the word is something you don't have, but you want to have. And sometimes the word is something you would like to have more of. But they're all positive words, and they're internal positive. So it's not about being pretty, it's about being exquisite. So it's a very internalized feeling that will externalize on the outer beauty too.
What you're talking about is very interesting. I personally believe, like, I'm attached to a piece of jewelry I have, and it makes me feel good.
Exactly.
Even if I'm not having a great day, it feels like I have emotion, like comfort and emotional attachment. When I wear it, I feel like I have a good energy now.
Exactly.
So I 100% agree with what you're saying. So if people wants to go and know more about your jewelry, what website shall we go to? So it's like Intisar's.
Intisar's, INTISARS.com.
Okay, that's for people. They need to watch your amazing.
Oh, here it's this one behind. There we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, I don't know where I'm going. Anyway, that's it.
Great. We talked about. We mentioned drama therapy when we've been talking about helping women who've been affected by the war. So what is the drama therapy?
Okay, so. What I realized in 2017 that there was no focus on emotional or let's say mental well-being of women affected by war in the Arab world. And unfortunately, the Arab world is the region with the most wars in the world. And the most victims, the biggest victims of wars are children and women. And most of us look at working with children or supporting children, and we forget about the women. Mm-hmm. And when I realized that, I realized I wanted to do something about it. And so I mapped what was being done in Lebanon and Jordan, with 2 countries with the biggest influx of refugees.
Yeah.
And there was very little, if any, focus on the mental well-being of women. And when I also looked at why there was no focus, number 1, no one thought about it. Number 2, no one thought it was impactful or it was necessary. But also the third determining factor was there was an aversion from the women to go to any kind of mental intervention. And when we looked at that, what we realized was, number 1, there's a shame factor or a stigma or a taboo about going to a psychologist or a therapist. And so if she didn't have it, her family wouldn't allow her to. What would the neighbors say? What would the family say? Everyone will think you're crazy. So that was the second stigma. The third one is women who are very emotional, especially women who are traumatized by war, do not want to sit in a closed room with a therapist. It's very personal things, and they don't want to, especially in the Arab world, we're not used to sitting with therapists. We're not used to telling strangers our feelings.
Yeah.
And so when we went, and this came about when I went to see a free hospital that had cognitive behavior therapy, but the room was empty. People wouldn't go. And I thought, okay, so even cognitive behavior, which is simple, they really don't want. So, or they don't really want a lot of. So what is it something that they will want, they will adapt, that will make them, do any kind of therapy? And the fourth one was, the women said, we've just been able to bury our pain. We don't want to relive the situation.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see what kind of therapies were out there that don't fall in any of these four, and it was the arts. And so we started working with art therapy and drama therapy, two different programs with two different sets of women. The art therapy did well, the drama therapy did brilliantly well. They were different human beings. The art therapy, they were, they felt better, they were letting go of emotions. But the drama therapy, they were becoming different women. And so I looked and I said, oh my God, this is huge. So we went for, only for drama therapy. Our goal now is to reach 1 million Arab women in order for them to be the ambassadors of peace. We want to create a peace movement in the Arab world through the emotional empowerment of women. Because what we've realized is the women we work with, when they gain all the benefits of drama therapy, they start expressing themselves well, they start being seen and heard, which is the opposite of what happens to women in war. They shouldn't be seen, they shouldn't be heard because it's dangerous. So what we're doing is we're bringing them into the limelight. No, express yourself, connect with your emotions, talk about your trauma within a small group of women who will support you in your journey. And this is what's happening, is they become a tight knit group of supporting women. And so we create the change in the town that we work with, because we stay within a community. So we create the change in the community through the women empowering themselves and empowering other women, empowering their daughters. Yeah, empowering their daughters. We have lots of stories of women allowing their daughters to finish school, to finish university, where the norm would be they would allow the husband to marry the daughter off at 14 because just to keep her safe. The mothers have realized, no, the daughters can do something with themselves. They have a future. So they stopped the father from marrying them off. So it used to be that she felt she was powerless. Now she realized she has the power. They stop physical abuse. They stop abusing their children. They start giving their children more space to express their emotions, to talk about what's happening in their life. So it's this whole bubble of peace that's being created within the nucleus family, within the community, and hopefully within the region.
What you're saying touched me personally, because I came from a war zone. I'm Syrian, and I experienced all that fear, and it's difficult to overcome. I am pleased that I have support around me. I have my family, I have my husband, who are all understand that what I passed through, it can leave me with like anger or any type of bad emotions. So I help myself through sessions and through the sport. Like I use the sport I have around me. But when I meet people who they don't have the support, they don't want even to admit that there is something different, something like wrong happened, and that's really. I wish I can just tell them, no, you are able to change it. Just try, just like go to a therapist or do something about it.
One thing we've realized is the women we work with, some of them, because they don't have the support of their families, they tell their families, oh, we're going to go to an activity. They don't tell them what they're coming to.
Yeah.
So this helps, because if the family knew they were coming to a psychological support group, they might not allow them to come. So, oh, we're going to an activity. It's an all-female activity. So by saying that, their families allow them to come, and they grow. And we've had, and sometimes we tell the women, please, keep this for a while from your family. Don't tell them what's happening to you, because she grows so much internally, it starts being a threat to her family, be it the husband, the in-law, all of that. It's like, oh, now you know how to say no. What happened to you? What did you do? And so we say, don't tell them what you're doing because they'll stop you from coming. Just say, I'm going to a cooking activity or I'm going to an activity. 90% do, their families know what they're doing, but 10% they choose not to tell them, and that's fine, because you need to grow your self-confidence in order to be able to change your environment.
What you're doing is so amazing. If anyone wants to support and look to the foundation work, where they can find more information, how can they support?
Okay, so the foundation is called Intisar, and Intisar because it means victory. So anyone who knows Arabic knows Intisar means victory, and our sign is a woman standing up victorious. So going from the fetal position, being helpless and disempowered, to through drama therapy, learning about herself, about her emotions, growing her self-confidence, growing from internally, and growing and being bigger than life, larger than life, and then standing up in a sign of victory. So it's Intisar, INTISAR, foundation.org.
Okay, and that's you will for ladies who want
all the information is there. Also, the same Intisar Foundation on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook. We've got videos of the women who've participated with us. We've got documentaries. We've published our first research, and we're publishing more research. So we're a newly formed foundation with a big impact in a very short time.
Thank you so much for sharing all this information and knowledge. I really enjoyed every second of the interview.
Thank you so much.
You've been an amazing guest, and thank you so much for being with us today, Sheikha Intisar.
Thank you so much. One more thing I'd like to add is one of the good factors we do is in the jewelry brand, 50% of the profits go to the foundation.
Okay.
So yes, so I'm actually starting a new social entrepreneurial template or way of working, and that is sustaining the foundation, making sure that the foundation always has money, because with always constantly looking for funding, it's very tiring on foundations or on NGOs. So we're sustaining the foundation with the jewelry brand, which is growing exponentially because the jewelry brand makes the women feel good when they wear it. So by acquiring a piece of jewelry, one can easily support women overcome their trauma of war. So I would encourage anyone who is interested to go see the brand, see if they like any piece, and know that by buying this piece of jewelry, 50% will go to support a woman in need of emotional growth.
As you mentioned, it's all a cycle of support. All what you're doing is a cycle of support.
Exactly.
And like you have my support, even if it is one person, and I hope all the viewers to follow the amazing job you are doing.
Thank you so much. It starts with one person, and then it's an avalanche of goodness. So we look forward to the avalanche of goodness, inshallah.
Inshallah, Habibti. Shukran. Thank you so much, Sheikha Intisar, for being with me today.
Thank you.